Hello, everybody, and welcome to day 8 of the Road to 2K on Chess.com Rapid. We've had a little bit of a rough spell here, but we're going to continue to give it our best shot and see what we can do. So for today, looks like we're playing a 1790 from the United States, and we get the white pieces, so we're going to go ahead. We'll start with e4. He's going to play our trusty Caro Kann against us, so let's go ahead. Let's play d4. And we're going to play the fantasy variation with the idea that we want to try and support the center with this pawn best we can. Now, in this variation, when they bring the queen out, oftentimes their ideas are going to play e5, knight out, bishop here. But the idea with all these lines is that you end up playing knight to a4 so that you don't have just this massive attack coming down the pretty weak dark squares. So we're going to start. The only issue is I can never remember in these lines if you start with taking the pawn or not. I'm going to say no. We're going to play knight to c3. And if he meets us with e5, I think that's the point with which we'll... And he plays e6, which doesn't quite feel right. So what I want to do here is I don't want to run low on time again. I might play e5 with the idea of, he's going to try and break immediately. If we take, he takes with the bishop. We play knight to h4. This queen check is scary, but it's not terribly scary after c3. So we're going to do that. I fully expect bishop takes, knight here, queen h4, c3. And the bigger point is that we attack these two pieces so that he can't comfortably continue his attack against us. We're still a little bit down on the clock. We're still learning how to control our time, especially with commentating at the same time. But that's just the nature of how this one goes. At this point, he does have this move. He does not have this queen coming in as well. And his queen is still under attack, and his bishop is under attack, which is the important part of the position. So now that he does that, I think we can play c5 or c4. We can also just take this bishop off. And I think I actually prefer that for us, is take this off, let him capture here. And then maybe we have ideas of this queen move trying to win here. So let's take the bishop. This is a really attractive move, but we'd have to make it work. Now, if I go queen to c3, or queen to d3, sorry, he might have ideas of this bishop move. I really don't want to get stuck, though. If I go c5, that hangs the queen. So maybe I do have to play like bishop out. But for now, I'm going to try and take advantage of the fact that his queen is just misplaced and develop around that. We're still holding on to c2. I suppose this knight out is also a move. Maybe not the best move, but definitely a move. Now, a downside I'm seeing here that I didn't really think about is with my queen on d3, is I do block in this bishop a little bit. Now, the tempting move here is b3. He's attacking this pawn. So maybe I'm going to play f4 to defend it. And if knight to b4, we're going to hit him with this check. Kind of an interesting position. Probably not great for us. But as we've already seen in this series, we've definitely had worse. So take that for what you will. This knight comes in. I don't see an immediate threat out of it. So let's go ahead. Let's play knight to f3. The nice part is he doesn't have this dark square bishop, so our king is actually surprisingly safe on this square. Now, he did move this way. If I bring my knight in here, he probably plays g3. And after g3, I don't think we have anything yet. Now, maybe I play queen to d1, bishop here, to threaten some ideas like the Greek gift. Because this knight's really awkwardly placed. So I think that it seems kind of slow to go for that, to be honest. I do like this knight to g5. If g3, we play h4. And really try and go on the activity. Is there any other way for him to stop that? I guess he can play knight to g6. But then we attack. So let's go for the quick mate. This is still held, which is really important. But you have to stop the checkmate threat. And kind of like our opponent's profile picture up here, is we're just going for the snipe. We're trying to end this game quickly. Get it over with. Yep, there's g6. I don't see any reason not to play h4. Even after ideas of like knight to f5. So he brings his knight in, which does relinquish control of the square. And if I move too far, he's going to take this pawn. Maybe in this position we play, I don't know, if queen here, queen takes, bishop takes, knight check. If we go here to c3, does he have d4? d4 takes, knight takes here. We've kind of got ourselves in a little bit of a pickle. But I think we'll be able to manage. We'll figure something out. We always do. Most of the time, sort of. h5 is very clearly my next move. I feel like he might play like h6 or f6 to try and kick us out. Now f6 fails, obviously, to e captures f. He takes the pawn with check. So we're going to go ahead and take that off. We're going to play rook over because right now the rook was hanging in that position. And I think we're going to continue with our plan. We're only down one pawn. But we do really need to try and get our pieces going here and have some form of an attack. Otherwise, it's going to be a very quick lights out for us. This is kind of the tough part about playing the fantasy is it leads to a lot of very fun positions. But if you're not well prepared, it will smoke you very, very quickly. He takes the outpost square. So let's go ahead. Let's just play h5. h5. If he takes, probably rook takes. Knight back, and we can win a pawn. But do we actually win a pawn? Because after takes, guess there is no f6 because of e5. He does choose to kick our knight away. If we take and he takes, We don't have anything. So we are going to start by playing the knight back. And then d3 here is an idea. And notably, maybe not notably, he does have this move, which is annoying. But it's a very ugly position right now. We're down about a minute and a half. But sometimes that's just what happens. After takes, pawn takes, we're not really going anywhere. We do have g4, but I think that we need to make g4 more stronger somehow. And I don't unfortunately see a great way to do that. So I'm going to start with taking this pawn off. We're going to play g4. After g4, if he comes here, we have knight takes, f5, and if he takes, we do have bishop captures h6 check. So I think we're going to go ahead. We're going to go for this continuation. It does weaken our king pretty heavily, but the queens are off. So something that's super instructive is in these types of positions, when the king is not on the board, like so, when the queens are off the board like so, it does make it so there's a lot more tactics available, and that the king doesn't necessarily have to be as safe as it would be in a traditional position. Now I wonder if he's going to see this. I think that f5 is a really strong move. He closes it off, but that does allow us to create a passed pawn. And after we create the passed pawn, I think we now have a lot of attacking ideas, where we're either going to win. I think we win this pawn no matter what. It's just a matter of how quickly do we get in there. We have 2:46, so trying to be mindful of time for once. I don't want to run completely out. This bishop of his sucks and is kind of out of the game. This is our biggest strength in the position. Or that's the, where's the green? There's the blue. Blue works. This is the focal point of our position. And we are attacking in the Caro-Kann fantasy variation. Now the nice part is after we win this pawn, we are also threatening queen captures g5. For anyone who is on chess.com, and sometimes I know drawing these arrows helps, is it's right click for any arrows. And if you ever want to change the color, all you have to do is you press Control for yellow, Alt for blue, and Shift for green, and then default is red. And then if you double click on them, they'll all turn back. Gives you a good chance to learn and experiment. So I don't hate how we've transformed this position for us. I think we've done a really nice job here. The knight comes back. It's attacking this pawn. So my thought is if rook check here, he comes here. We do have bishop here, which is checkmate. If rook here, king to the corner, rook check here, that would force king to h7. And from there we might have, do we have anything? I can't start with this bishop check. I can't start with that bishop move. This pawn might just hang, and I don't think we'll be able to save it. So let's start with rook h7 check. If this pawn hangs, we're going to be in a lot of trouble. here, I think we go with the rook g7 check. We win this pawn, and then we're going to try and get our other pieces in very quickly. Yep, rook to the corner. We're going to take g5, defending our pawn. It makes it kind of difficult for him to challenge us as well. And after we develop our bishop, we actually will end up having like rook h1 ideas. I just need to make sure that we don't get mated ourselves. And I think the key part of this position is because of his bishop kind of getting locked, is we're not, I don't know how much immediate danger we're in, and we may have just enough time to get our pieces active. Because I'm thinking bishop here, bishop out, rook g8. Oh, he goes for it immediately. Huh. Okay. I am going to start with a check, which is checkmate. Sometimes I'd rather be lucky than good, and I think this is one of those situations. We finally win one. So let's go ahead, let's look at the game review, and we'll call it a day. So today we had a Caro-Kann Fantasy as white. We played at 80.3%, and our opponent played at 66.2%. To get us started here, pretty much book after queen to b6, we played knight c3, which is correct. e5 hurt our chances. Now, I think the idea here is he punishes correctly with c5, and it just makes the pawns very weak in the center. When we take back, it did want us to push for this larger pawn center, which we unfortunately missed. So we took, and after knight a4, bishop f2, king e2, and queen b5, we found a good opportunity on how to solidify. Now I do wonder, c5 was correct, because the thing I missed about c5, and I'm realizing now, is yes, we give up the pawn, but we're counterattacking the queen and we're attacking the bishop, and there's no way to avoid a loss of material here. But after queen captures a4, queen d3 was wrong. b3, which kicks away the queen, gets tempo, allows us to develop. And I think that's really the key here, is development. Is we got into an okay position. We brought our pieces. Knight g5, not the most accurate. h4, queen d1, and we're immediately wrong. So I guess the idea here is you hang the pawn anyways. Is after queen here, queen takes, pawn takes, knight captures b2. Rook b1, knight goes back, and you're probably just doing okay there. But instead, we trade everything off. We play h5. We bring our knight back, and we go for an attack. Is in this position, we did not give up. We did not slow down, which didn't give our opponent a great chance to consolidate. We create our passed pawn. We create kind of our win condition. And after he goes here, the thing I missed is that the king can no longer go to g8 because of the rook. This pawn covers the final square. There is no way to interpose, and we win the game. So, as always, if you enjoyed the content, please, like, comment, and subscribe, and let me know what I can do to continue to improve. And I will see you guys for day 9.